Hello and welcome to the Fish and Chip podcast. I'm here with your host Fish.
Hello.
And I'm Chips. So let's get started into the podcast after a long time.
Okay, so this podcast we're going to kind of be doing just a general discussion about our summers because we've been very bad podcasters. I don't think we've updated the channel in like 3 months.
We've been planning on updating constantly during the summer. But we never went into it at all because we have jobs and
responsibilities. Oh, well, how much shit, we kind of decided to take a break from the channel because summer's kind of been stressful and busy, so it's nothing compared to like the absolute like joke that is the college year and how it doesn't represent real life at all. So we kind of just decided to maybe give the channel a bit of a backseat this summer and kind of just focus on ourselves, and also so that we can kind of just make a big update video, at the start of September and kind of get everyone back into it, and then we'll start with our kind of maybe not weekly anymore, maybe bi-weekly podcast. We haven't really decided yet. We'll
let you know when we know.
We'll see. So that's kind of the update for the channel, really. We're just kind of going to be going with it the way we went about it before. We'll be getting guests on and stuff again. Also, I'm moving to a different country this year. So we're not going to be filming in the same room anymore. We're going to be filming like over Skype or whatever. Yeah. We haven't really figured that out 100% yet.
What we're going to do is we're going to get a cup and string, and we're going to go across the whole country.
I mean, in fairness, you might be moving to Kenmare, so the internet that might be more, better than the internet there, because how good is the internet in Kenmare? Like Kenmare is barely even a place. Like
it's a small town. It's not that small.
It's not the worst place in Kerry. I mean, but it's not South Kerry.
When you're driving away, our American viewers, they don't know where
Ireland
is.
Our American viewer, we get every once in a while.
They don't know where Ireland is. Never mind Kenmare or Cork.
Well, we're educating the people. It's okay. So our summers have kind of been, I would say, a bit crazy. Like we've been up to a lot. Like we've both been working a lot. I've been working in the Rose Hotel again this summer, and Shane, you've been working in
a fast food restaurant as usual.
Mm-hmm. Just going about our lives. So we've also been up to a lot this summer as well, so we thought we'd just kind of talk about that on this podcast.
Well, I've been to we've both been to festivals this year. We've both been to 2 festivals, and I went to 1 concert this year. I actually started off summer, went to see Gorillaz with a couple of friends. Fish couldn't go at all
because I had work,
because he's a bitch.
Responsibilities. I couldn't get the time for it because you asked me like 3 days in advance. Who does that?
I didn't ask you.
I know it was Patrick asked me, but so I couldn't go, unfortunately. I'm not really a big Gorillaz fan anyway. You would be into their music, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I like their music. Well, I'm not as big as the people into it as the people I went with, but I really enjoyed it. Sure, we went up to Dublin on the day of it, and we got into a hostel, and it was around what you call it. There was supposed to be like 12 or something of us going. Well, actually, I wasn't supposed to be part of the 12. I was last minute, but I took someone else's place going to it, and but the hostel was pretty nice, but it was very expensive. I think it was around 50 per person or something. I could be exaggerating.
Yeah, it's kind of Dublin though in general. Was it in Dublin or was it?
Yeah, it was in Dublin.
Yeah, Dublin's expensive.
But like we went and because we wanted to get drunk beforehand. So not drunk. We wanted to have a few drinks beforehand. So we went into St. Stephen's Green, the park there, and had a few cans.
Drinking in the park, how classy.
Yeah, well, it's different to our hometown where we drink.
Yeah, where a lot of 16-year-olds go to the park. But
in the park, everyone just kind of chills and sit down, and you just as long as you don't drive attention to yourself, you can drink away. Just don't be loud and stuff. We just had a few cans. We saw other people, but we after a while having a few cans, but we were we started the trend there.
You started drinking at like 11 o'clock though, because I remember getting a Snapchat from you.
No, it was
12
around,
or something.
It was around 12:01.
Yeah, cause I remember I was at work and I got a snap from me drinking in the park, and I was
You can't buy drink till after 12.
Yeah, you can't. Is it not 10:30 now?
No,
it's something like that. Drinking 12. Times confuse me in this country.
No, I change it depending on occasion, but it's after 12 for most places in Ireland.
So how was the concert then?
So they started off with some like rapper DJ, tribute band like that started off, and they were pretty decent, you know, just to hype up the crowd. But I mean, like, I've seen a lot better, you know, hype bands, like.
Yeah.
But Gorillaz were class. They didn't. I'd say like I wouldn't be able to name all their fucking music at all. But they did all the main stuff. Like, it was pretty sick. Like, but I was like, for a while I was like, Jesus, they're going on so fucking long. But that was actually class. The crowd were really into it, like, and I was we were all kind of very hyped. You see, for an act like them, you don't want to drink, you don't want to get too drunk, so we were all kind of sober, and we were kind of just waiting for them. They stopped at one, I think, what song did they not do? They didn't do, was it Clint Eastwood?
They didn't do Clint. That was the one I was going to ask you about. It's part of my favorite
Clint Eastwood, and they left the stage, and then they came back and they did it.
That's weird.
Because what they were doing,
it was like they left encore, was it?
Yeah, they just left, and then it was like, oh, they can't be finished now, and we were right. I've been to two festivals with load of music this year, and they all fucking do it.
They all do it because they want to, like, the fucking encore thing, you know, because they live off that shit. They want the crowd, like, chanting and stuff, which I get. Like, when we were at, this is kind of jumping forward slightly, but actually, yeah, I'll leave that for later, actually. Just one of the things we went to Electric Picnic. Just one of the dudes, man. Every single time that there was a close-up of his face on the stage, it was, your man from the Coronas. He looked absolutely jacked. Like, he looked like he was on, like, you could tell he wasn't on drugs. He was just, like, really, really, really hyped up because the crowd was so good at Coronas, in fairness. But, like, you could see the feeling on his face, and I was like, man, the feeling up there must be, like, unbelievable for musicians. So I can understand why they do stuff like that, you know, because they want people to.
So I've seen so much music. You're the same, sure, Fish. That you've seen so much. You've seen so much music this year, because I only saw a small thing more than you, just because Gorillaz is only one set. You know, like, it was only kind of one artist that you were there to see. But we went to two festivals in Ireland, Longitude, which was in Dublin, and I actually went there. I went to that last minute as well.
Yeah,
I didn't book my ticket, and then I went to Electric Picnic. My sister won and gave them to me, so I went to that. I decided to go to that last minute. So all three things I went to this year, I decided, I was like, fuck it. When I got offered, I just go. I didn't actually book it or plan it. I was like, oh, I got offered, might as well go.
You literally, like, told me, you literally asked me the Friday before Electric Picnic. You were like, oh, I have tickets for Electric Picnic. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, obviously. Because Kendrick was playing there and stuff. Actually, so I'm not going to lie, right? Out of the two festivals, the music experience, I probably enjoyed Longitude more, but the overall experience, I enjoyed Electric Picnic more.
I kind of enjoyed the music in Electric Picnic more.
It was more suited towards you, yeah.
Yeah, although on the last day, Sunday, I didn't enjoy the music as much, but the first 2 days, both these two festivals, Longitude and Electric Picnic, they are both 3-day festivals with loads of variety of music. Longitude didn't have camping, so we had to stay in a hotel, which kind of, like, took away some of the experience, which is what made the experience of Electric Picnic better, because we could go camping.
Yeah.
And we were on the campsite constantly, and we were listening to music until 1 or 2 in the morning, till like 4 in the morning, if we wanted to.
There was stuff going on until 5 or 6 in the morning most days. Like, it was actually crazy. Like, the actual gap between stuff going on was like 6 hours every day, where there was nothing really going on.
Yeah, like, there was always something, really.
Oh yeah, I know, but I mean, and in terms of, like, nothing on, like, the main kind of places or, like, any of the side stages. Like, obviously there was always, like, sure, my cousin who was also at EP, he told me that one day they just went and there was just some random dude playing piano, and they just were there for about half an hour just watching this random dude play piano. This was at like 5 a.m. So, like, there's always kind of something going on at those kind of festivals, whereas in Longitude, it's way more set up to just be like an 8-hour thing every day, which I kind of prefer in ways, because I don't know, man. We
get exhausted, but at the same time, you can go down and you can chill, go back to your camp, because you only have it's not that long of a walk, for 10 minutes at most.
Yeah, man.
You walk down to your and you sit down and you just chill for a bit, and then it's like, oh, I'm back in the mood. Let's go out and go camping. When we were in Longitude, we go and we had to go to a trek of getting back into the city to go and get back to our hotel, and we were out of energy to even go out to clubs or anything like that.
Yeah, it was such a trek. We were in bed most days at Longitude at like 12 o'clock, 1
o'clock.
Like,
say if we were with a bigger group or that, and we kind of it was more convenient to get into the city, some of us might have gone out of that, but we were for Longitude there was 3 of us, and the Electric Picnic it was just 2 of us, me and Jason.
Yeah.
Like.
Exactly, yeah. Whereas I think those kind of things they're more set up to go like everywhere it was just big groups like. Yeah. It was all like 8, 9, 10 people, which if we go back next year, we'll try to get more people to go with us.
Sure.
Which I definitely would be
Electric Picnic, which we went to, tickets already sold out.
Yeah.
For the first booking. So we're going to have to try and convince lads, our friends, to book for the next lot.
Literally on the first day. It was the same with Longitude. But in fairness, so we'll kind of get into the lineups a bit more now. Like Longitude, the lineup was ridiculously stacked. Like it was, so for me, I'm a massive hip hop head. Like, which I kind of hate that term a tiny bit because it's a bit of a condescending term, I think. Because a lot of people in that kind of headspace or community, they can be kind of judgmental to other forms of music. Whereas I like most forms of music. It's just hip hop is like what I enjoy most. So like the lineup consisted of people like J. Cole, Joey Badass, Boss, Reggie Snow, who else? Like Travis Scott, who I'm not a big fan of, but I understand his appeal. Like, and people like Lil Pump as well, who'd be more on the mumble side of rap. So I was really jacked for it. Like, so kind of from Longitude, Shane, what do you think as someone that maybe isn't as into the hip hop community and like that kind of music, but you are into it?
Yeah.
At the same time, like I know you listen to a lot of the gym and stuff.
Like I listen to a good bit of hip hop, but the only thing is like it's like they had like hip hop music that wasn't really catered to me. So they had Post Malone.
Oh yeah, but Post is he's like a mixture of genres, but he does his hip. Actually, to be honest with you, his hip hop is probably my favorite part of his music. Like stuff like Rockstar.
I was never really that big into him. I was always alright. We went to see him. It was a massive, huge crowd, but I didn't really enjoy it as much as you.
I think it was Billy probably enjoyed it the most out of the 3 of us. Because that was what he came for. Like it was that and Black Bear cancelled, sure. Yeah. So. Like that was kind of who Billy was most looking forward to. So who's kind of your highlight then? So
well, I thought Voss or J. Cole was kind of the
Boss was class. So Boss was on the Lifestyle Sports stage at 4:00 on the Friday, right? So I think Friday was such a messy day. Like we'll talk about that a bit more in a second. One of the other things we went to, but Boss. It was on a side stage, and at the same time, there was these 2 stupid pricks that were... I don't know who the fuck they were. They were on the main stage. They were literally playing other people's songs and then, like, bopping around to them. On this, I was like and everyone, they were so hyped up about this because it was all, like, popular music. Yeah. And I was like, that's not, like, what are these guys' talents? And, like, they weren't DJs because they were playing the full songs, pretty much.
Yeah.
They hadn't done anything to them. I didn't understand it at all. Like... I'm not gonna lie, I just don't get that kind of shit. Like, I'd much rather, if I'm gonna go to a festival, I want to see live music. I don't want to be listening to other people's fucking songs that aren't even there. So we went to Boss instead. Before we actually give a shout out to the guy called JLOL. He's an Irish hip hop artist, man. I think he's got like 2,000 concurrent listeners on Spotify. He hasn't even released an album yet. I think he might have released an EP. I'm not 100% sure. Mm-hmm. But that dude could be huge. And as well as another guy, Jafaris, who played the main stage at Longitude he was the first guy to play on the Friday on the main stage. He's also Irish. Maybe he's probably a bit more well known actually, because I think he's released an album. I think he's releasing an album this month, if I'm not mistaken. He mentioned something about it at Electric Picnic.
Yeah.
Like both those dudes could be huge in the future, so I just want to give a shout out to them, but I won't mention them too much at this kind of point. Maybe we might talk about Jafaris a bit more when we talk about Electric Picnic. But Boss, he was on a side stage, and the entire crowd, they were like super fans of his. Like some dude brought an Irish flag for Boss to sign for him, like, you know, and stuff like that. So like they were like a lot, like it seemed like a lot of that crowd, he was like the reason they came there. And like this dude, he's a pretty big artist in the hip hop community. I mean, he's done stuff with J. Cole and stuff. He's biggish on Spotify. Like, I mean, he would be kind of underground, but also quite mainstream too, I would say. Mm-hmm. Like, people in that space would know who he is. Like, he actually released an album as well.
He brought someone from the
audience up, to rap with him, even though he didn't turn the mic on, which I thought was funny. But like, your man seemed to know what he was doing. In fairness to him, your man knew the lyrics. So like. But that's the thing, as in, this was, like, the song that he sang with him was kind of obscure, and I didn't know what the song was. So that just tells you that, like, the people that were there were big fans. So I think that we got a bit misled by the atmosphere there, because everyone was so friendly, and, like, we were moshing and stuff, but it was respectful. Like, you would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, we were at the very front. Like, we were literally and there was probably about There's probably like less than 100 people there.
And that was a mistake we made then after. We were like, oh, this crowd was really good for being up in front. So we were like, oh, we go to, who was it we went to?
So later, why I think Friday was a huge mess as a day. I think that it got better, Longitude. It got better as the festival went on. Friday was a bit of a mess though, because so Joey Badass played on the Heineken stage on the Friday evening. I think he was just before J. Cole, because J. Cole was on the main stage. So like that was kind of the lineup, because we went to Joey Badass, then J. Cole. And Joey Badass, man, was so rough. It was ridiculous. And like even for like a hip-hop crowd, it's one of the reasons that I'm not a huge fan of Longitude as a festival, even though I love the music this year, is because the crowds, man, they're all so young. Yeah. And a lot of them, it's their first festival experience. And I'm not going to lie, it's our second, that was our second first festival experience, because we been to C sessions before we were 18 or 19 or whatever. But the crowd was just ridiculous. So we were at the barricade, and it was fine for a good while. Like, we kind of had to like push our way in to get to the barricade, because Joey Badass, if anyone that knows me, he's my favorite rapper ever. I think he's absolutely sick. So like, he was probably, because he's played in Ireland before. I think he didn't play the O2. He played like the Olympia Stadium, I think, in Dublin before. So he has played Ireland before, but I'd never had a chance to see him before. Like, it was just never. There was never really an opportunity for me to see him. So he was like, when I saw he was on the lineup, I was like, yeah, he's like my number one guy I want to go see. And don't get me wrong, I thought that he was actually really good, even though I was a bit underwhelmed. Like when compared to someone like J. Cole, who was so good. Like I think that maybe he kind of let the side down a tiny bit, but I also think a lot of that was down to the fact that like he didn't come on stage for 10 minutes. Like he was 10 minutes late. On top of, like, I think he was 5 minutes late before that, like, because the crowd was so bad that security wouldn't let him on stage. You're talking about
Joey Badass.
Joey Badass, not J. Cole. Joey Badass was late on stage because the crowd was so bad. Security didn't control it at all. It was a fucking joke. Like,
yeah, there was a fella on a wheelchair who rolled through the crowd. He actually probably, it was going to be bad anyway, but he kind of ruined.
He made it way worse. I feel bad for the dude, man.
He rolled through the crowd, like, I mean, like, and like he got surrounded from every single corner, like, and he was just trying to stay up against the barrier. The security, of course, are going to be like, "What are you doing? You can't be." It's way too dangerous. It's a literally health and safety hazard, like.
They had to pull the dude out, and that created like a vacuum, and everyone surged in.
Yeah,
and there was so many pricks there, man. There was some fucking dude. He was off his head on fucking MD or something. He was elbowing Billy in the back of the head for like 20 minutes, like. And security was right there. They wouldn't kick him out. They wouldn't do anything. And Billy knew for a fact that if he turned around and fucking decked the dude, which is what I would have probably done, he would have gotten kicked out himself and probably charged with assault. So he couldn't, even though he would have been well within his rights, because he would have been defending himself, because that guy was dangerous. And the crowd was full of people like that. And it's a joke. I think it's, like, don't get me wrong, like, I know that it's a festival and people are going to do what they're going to do, man, but be a bit more respectable.
There was a guy feeling me up in that fucking same thing.
Yeah, that was fucking weird. You have a bad luck with you getting felt up at festivals.
Oh, my God.
We'll talk about that a bit more, especially with EP, because you just got, like, ridiculously, like, at that. But I think that sounds kind of wrong. I'm not going to give any context to that statement until later. Man. So you're going to have to keep listening. But yeah, but I did enjoy it. And the thing is, right, after about 20 minutes, half an hour, I was like, fuck this. I got off of the barricade and went into the crowd. And it was gross in there in a way, because everyone was so sweaty and shit, because people just started taking off their tops, man. Which I don't even really mind necessarily, but it was kind of gross. But actually, when I went into the crowd, man, it was so much better, though. Oh, you see, the thing, so much better.
I didn't enjoy Longitude as much as Electric Picnic as well, is because Longitude had such a young crowd.
Yeah, it did.
Because, like, I know you briefly mentioned it, but, like, even anywhere we went, it was, like, we kind of, like, we're both only 21, we're not that fucking old at all.
No.
And there's, like, 16, 17-year-olds, like, surrounded, in there, and it's supposed to be, like, what, it's 17s plus?
It's 16s, I think it's not 16s and over or something like that.
Yeah, but it should be, it would be way better if it was 18s plus. But it was, like, we had no time to kind of, like, you know, like, have a good, like, enjoy it in Joey Badass as well, like, but it was just the age, and they were, you see, the age of them and the fact that they were all on fucking drugs did not mix well.
No, it didn't, because, I don't know, man, they just, it wasn't that, the first day was bad. I think the days after that weren't as bad. I think they kind of,
yeah, we realised after, because we had a good, you see, at the start of Friday, we were like, We had a great time in the front, and then when it got bad, we were like, after that day, we were like, we made a mistake. We shouldn't be focusing on as much on going to the front of the fucking thing. Like, try to just enjoy it. Like,
you're better off to just go into the crowd anyway and just flow with it and just mosh and stuff, because that's where the crack is for me anyway. Obviously, I'm a very big dude, so like I can mosh pretty safely.
Yeah.
Maybe not for people around me, but I myself, I'm kind of okay. I know for smaller people it can be a bit difficult, like, because I mean there were some people like just were getting swept up in it, and I felt bad for them, like, because I don't know, you should be able to enjoy your festival experience and not get the fucking shit kicked out of you from all sides. But saying that, I do enjoy moshing, especially at hip hop concerts, because like when I'm into the music and I can sing along with it and shit, like I know all the lyrics and and you're surrounded by people that love the same type of music. It's like, it's a special kind of experience, I think, which is something maybe I didn't get as much at Electric Picnic, but I got different things out of it. So yeah, and I think that Longitude as a whole, other probably highlights were people like Reggie Snow was great. I think you probably enjoyed him too.
Yeah,
he was on the he's the Irish rapper. He was on Panic Stage as well. He was great, man. He was really, really good. He's come along so much this year. Like, I mean, after he did release Dear Annie at the start of the year, that was a fantastic album. Like, he has gotten a lot bigger since then, but man, he's class live. And like, something you can't say about a lot of rappers, because like, I know we're not talking about Electric Picnic like as a whole yet, but I was very disappointed in Kendrick, and I think a lot of people actually were disappointed too. I didn't think he was that great. I thought he was alright. Actually, as far as like rappers I've seen this summer, out of the big ones, he was the worst by a country mile. Like, compared to someone like J. Cole, who was ridiculously good. Because sure, we went to J. Cole after Joey Badass, and we were all kind of wrecked, and like I was in a good.
We kind of more at the back then. We were just chilling, enjoying at the back, like.
Yeah, we didn't even attempt to go into the front, in fairness. And
into the crowd whatsoever. It was the main stage. There's not a chance in hell we could have got into the front.
The main stage is kind of shit anyway. I don't actually like the main stage. I didn't enjoy the main stage at any festival we were at. It's just like, tents are so much better. It's because you feel like you're in like a space.
Yeah.
And it's like closed off.
Well, it's necessary for someone as big as J. Cole and Post Malone.
Oh yeah, 100%. Man, if you'd have 10 people would have died at Post, like. Yeah. There were so many people, like Post Malone. I've never seen so many people at a music thing before. It was crazy. But sure, he is probably one of the biggest recording artists in the world. Like, the fact that Longitude were even able to get him is like class. So yeah, no, I thought Longitude as a whole, I really enjoyed it. If, to be honest with you, even though I'm not a big fan of the whole like age thing and stuff, if the lineup was as good next year, I'd probably consider going if I could find someone to go with.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go to Longitude again.
Yeah, I think Billy's probably in the same boat as you as well, but we'll see. So do you want to go into Electric Picnic a bit?
We probably will.
Talk about that a bit more?
So, back into Electric Picnic. So, actually, before I start, one day, Sunday on both festivals kind of died down a bit.
Yeah.
The crowd in Longitude, I found it went completely. It kind of was pretty dead. We saw SZA on.
Oh yeah.
I
actually forgot about Sunday.
On Sunday in Electric,
SZA
was class. But it's like the crowd it was actually probably better for Longitude when the crowd were kind of a bit more
tame, because we were just able to enjoy the music. Because in fairness,
it was rainy that day, but it was grand.
It was fine. Like, it was nothing compared to how rainy it was on the Sunday of Electric Picnic. Like,
yeah,
Anderson .Paak was that day as well. Actually, just give a shout out to him. He was ridiculous. Like, he was playing the drums and singing at the same time, and he was just class.
Like the really one thing that Longitude does have over is like Sunday, everyone was fucking me and Jason anyway. We were exhausted.
Oh, I was fucked.
We were absolutely like gone. We were just like there on Sunday. We couldn't. We went and we saw we didn't really see this as good music as we did the other days. There's so much in Electric Picnic. If you go and look around, you'll find something class. It's just we were a bit more wrecked and we didn't have as much motivation to kind of go around from point to point, like.
Yeah, look. Well, in fairness, you're completely right with that. Like, I mean, we found Jafaris at Electric Picnic just by coincidence. We just looked at the list and we saw he was on. Like, this dude, he played the main stage at Longitude, but at Electric Picnic he was in like this small, like, it looked kind of like a church.
Yeah.
But it was fucking sick. It only had space for like 50 people. There was probably about that.
It was like a shed made into a pub.
Yeah, it was like a shed made into a stage / pub. Yeah, and you were allowed to bring your cans in there and stuff, which was pretty good because you can't bring your cans to the main stage unless you sneak them in. Like,
well, it was outside of the festival area. It was the more camp area, but it was classy in Jafaris in comparison to Longitude. We saw him in a bigger stage, and he did pretty well. Like, it was like nobody in on the main stage kind of really knew him that much, but he was the first act we saw.
Yeah, he brought a lot of energy.
He brought a lot of energy, and we were like pretty pumped from him.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, we weren't even planning on going into Longitude at that time, but we came in. We were like, fucking hell, this guy is good. And we saw him again, Electric Picnic, and we were like, it was a smaller crowd. And at the end, he just moshed into the crowd.
Yeah, he did. That was actually savage in fairness. Yeah, he jumped into the crowd and started moshing. Like, that was, like, I really enjoyed that. Jay Yellow did the same thing as well at Longitude. Yeah. And that was pretty savage. I actually think as well he was better at EP in general. Yeah. Like, his actual, like, rapping was 1,000 times better. I don't know.
He was focusing on graphics.
So good.
For Longitude, he had a big screen, and the song he played, the tune he played, Silver Bullet, that looked class,
it was very trippy actually.
Very trippy. It looked very good on the screen background of that. But we went in we didn't have any of his, we didn't have any screen in the little shed we had in Longitude that we saw him in, and it was just as good, if not better. I actually probably enjoyed it more, even though I do enjoy visuals. Probably something that you had at Gorillaz a lot as well. The visuals are probably pretty sick. Oh yeah, they're a very very Gorillaz are very band. Into visuals. To be honest with you, I actually prefer their animation stuff to their music. I'm not gonna lie. I like their music, but their animation stuff is savage. It's so good, and actually their music's been pretty shit for the last 2 or 3 years, I would say as well. Maybe a few of their new tunes they released were pretty good. I don't really like them that much. It's probably a controversial statement because Gorillaz fans seem to like their music still. I don't know. Oh, they really out a bit. They probably like. They had the best type of crowd there. Like it was just because it was just everyone was kind of. If you're going to see one artist, it's kind of very different to a festival because it's just like you're going to Gorillaz and everyone's kind of there with the same mindset, want to see Gorillaz, and everyone really enjoys their music. So everyone kind of gets along more. Festivals, it's like, I have a bit of time to spare. I'm just going to pop in and see this guy as well while I'm at it, like because people like him and he attracts a good crowd. In fairness, as well, there were a lot of artists that Electric Picnic. It's only kind of like it's like head bopping music, as in you go there and you kind of listen to it. You don't really dance. Like at least that's just kind of my opinion on it. Like so, like people like George Ezra, you don't really get. It's not the same type of crowd you get at someone like J. Cole or anyone like that. It's because it's kind of different type of music, which is nice though. Because there was way more tense. There was way more stuff going on at once at Electric Picnic than Longitude. 100%. So at the same time, you could find a suitable crowd for you anywhere. Like you just go. Like suitable crowd of music's the priority, obviously. But you go in and you just find a suitable place to go, and as I said, Sunday was just a day we kind of got lazy. Oh, so lazy, man. We were back at the tent at like 11. Like we were literally back at the tent at like 11 o'clock or something like that, or like half 11. So we went to the Prodigy. I really don't. I don't know. I don't really like the Prodigy's music. Yeah. It's good dance music. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not a big dance guy in general. Like that would be more like I have a cousin who was at Longitude. Or Electric Picnic. He'd be more into stuff like that. That's kind of why he went there. Like in the Prodigy as well, they were an old band in fairness. Like, so like a lot of people in my family would be big fans of them, like my extended family, but maybe like the older generation, not really my generation. We kind of just zoned out. Like we were there for 45 minutes, was it? Something like half an hour, I think. We left pretty fast. We were like, we'll stay for a bit longer. And we left after fire starter. I was like, I kind of zoned out first, and it was just like I was like, I'll just leave. I'll leave Fish enjoy it for a bit and just go. I tried to get hyped up for it and I just couldn't. I was just too tired, man. Because who else would we go to say that? We went to see Death Grips. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm fucking sick and I didn't go into the crowd in Death Grips because it looked savage. Well, I was kind of leaning you towards it. You can't say it was my fault. No, it's not your fault. That was my fault. It was completely my fault. It was the same with Jafaris as well. We didn't go to the crowd in Jafaris until like the last 15 minutes. Because I kind of was like slowly leaning towards because you were like, nah, we won't bother. And I was just like, we'll just go a bit closer to the crowd. Might as well just go a bit closer. The only thing is, Death Grips wouldn't exactly be my type of music head, but I was like, I enjoy more. It took me a while to adapt to how fucking loud it was there. Oh, it was so loud, man. My ears were ringing. It actually, I was grand after a while. Once I adapted, I was like, we can go in if you want. Like, we didn't bother in the end, but we stayed close to the end of the crowd. We were like the outskirts of the main crowd, like, so we actually, it's just that we weren't in like the mosh pit or anything. It actually looked savage. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, Death Grips isn't really my type of music either. It's a bit too experimental for me. Like, it's a bit too heavy. Like,
the people,
I don't know.
The people that were there though, I just thought it was amusing. Like everyone, they were all definitely Death Grips fan.
Oh yeah.
There was a fella there. I just laughed. I went to Fish. I was like, that guy looks like fucking an evil Luigi.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Waluigi
is a Mario character.
Oh, he looks like a
with
Mario
character.
character.
That was great.
It's like, I was like, will he just talk? Because I was like pointing to him. He had his head turned when I told Jason, and I was like, Jason, you have to just wait and see. Like, he just looked. I just thought it looked fucking hilarious.
I must look like a creep though, just staring at that dude for like 2 minutes, just waiting for him to turn around. Like, yeah, it was totally worth it though. That guy did. He looked like a fucking Mario character. Actually, in fairness, a lot of people there, they looked like stereotypical like Death Grips fans, which is I'm definitely gonna get shit for that. The one Death Grips fan that probably Andrew's a Death Grips fan, actually. I think so. I think he's the only person I know that likes Death Grips.
He doesn't watch us.
Andrew, I think he watched his own podcast because he's a narcissistic prick, like. But other than that, he doesn't listen to the podcast. So yeah, he's not a true fan. Like, he's not a true fish and chips fan.
Yeah.
So I think that overall, like Electric Picnic, there were a lot of good people. I mean, the Coronas were great. They were really good, and the crowd.
Oh my god, Coronas! What time did you start? At 12, was it?
Oh yeah, it was.
They started super late. Started at 12.
I forgot about that.
We were like, "Oh, Coronas are good. We have to go see them." Like me and Fish aren't the biggest into like Coronas, but I was like, "Oh, they're good. They do good music. Like, there's no denying that."
Mm-hmm.
And we went in and we saw them, and I think they started off brilliant. And they just kept getting better and better because they were just there, and they were kind of they were actually playing with the crowd. They were going like, and they kind of saw what it felt like. They were seeing what the crowd kind of liked, and they were going to another level. And they brought in Gavin James.
James, Harry Hudson Taylor.
Well, they brought Gavin James on first, and then he left.
Saoirse Richardson as well.
After one shoot, and then they brought in. Towards the end, it was like they finished off with a big like lineup of all
a load of Irish artists, like.
With a load of Irish artists.
Like, which actually, other than Hudson Taylor, I'm not a big Gavin James fan. Other than Hudson Taylor, I wouldn't have really known who they were. I think the other person was Saoirse Richardson.
Still, it didn't even matter. It didn't matter who they were. It was just the fact. It was just how he did it.
Yeah.
He kind of went and he was like, he was doing stuff that other people didn't do. He had a late time. He was like telling the crowd, like, he was like, I've been to Electric Picnic like 5-6 years ago, they were saying, and that the last time they were fucking sleeping in the car or something like that. And like they'd be telling stories in between kind of each song or that, saying how much they actually appreciate the crowd. Yeah. The crowd would get more happy and more fucking pumped with all that, because it was a very nice tactic he did. Like, he was just saying stuff in between songs sometimes. And he just went and he did a big tune that got the people liked and just got the crowd kind of...
Like, in fairness, I don't think I've ever seen an artist at a festival feed off of the crowd's energy as much as that dude did, man. Like, he was the guy, like, he looked so, like, jacked all the time. And not, like, on drugs jacked. He looked like, this was just, like, the best night of his life. In fairness... I mean, it was such a crazy crowd that it was. I don't think
it was
they
in the tent,
much.
And it was huge. Everyone kind of like, I mean, like towards the end, maybe like, of course, because it was getting late, people were slightly leaving, but they kind of held the crowd completely for.
They retained like 90% of their crowd throughout the hour and a half I think they were on. Like, and man, they were started so late, as you said, and like. I think they didn't expect it because it was so late, you know what I mean? Around that time, people start to, like, maybe try, or they go, they're probably off their head on whatever, and they go to a load of dance music. Yeah. The Coronas isn't that type of music. You wouldn't think that maybe people would stay around for it that late, but they actually did, in fairness, man. And they were class. They were really good. Like, compared to, like, they were probably the best headlining-ish act.
Yeah, they did so well, like, because on Saturday, also, since we mentioned Hudson Taylor, we saw... Because me and Fish kind of know their music from like small concerts we've seen before. They played in Tralee. I've seen them up in Dublin, like for some event I went to, and we've seen them in a few different things. But they had an all East time slot on Saturday. It was 2:00, was it? Yeah. And we went in and we just sat at the back and we were just listening to their music, and they've they kind of have a nice creativity with their music. Kind of like it's like they just have. It's like everything kind of flows together well. I was surprised that they had such a. They had such an early time slot, but it was actually fairly fitting for the time of day. It was just like you start the day and you just have that type of music to listen to.
Yeah. I think also as well, actually, I think that it might have not been as good as they started late. I think that it was kind of just nice, like, it was just nice music to get you into the mood.
We were just sitting that, we decided to just sit down and enjoy the music and stuff. And actually on the Sunday, I saw one of the members of Hudson Taylor, the not Harry, but the other fella, the brother.
I feel bad about that now.
But
you should know his name. Like, that was pretty good. You gave him a light. Well, you gave his girlfriend a light.
He was actually walking towards us. Fish didn't recognize him at all. I was like, "Is that Hudson Taylor?" And I was like, "Where? Who? Where?" Your man walked towards us. And I was like, he was like. The girlfriend was like, "Could I have a light?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're Hudson Taylor, right?" And we took a picture. Fish didn't even fucking recognize him. It's like, "Oh, I'm just going to photobomb this picture here."
I recognized him after you said it to me, but I wouldn't like. As in, I've seen the dude before, like especially. I mean, the stages.
Oh yeah, you definitely closer.
I would recognize the dude, but I mean, like Harry Hudson Taylor is kind of the face of that band in a way. Yeah. It's a shit. Like a lot of the
actually,
time, that's what it is.
They're a pair. I actually recognize them both equally. To be honest, like. Because he is more of the brother is more of a distinct look. I only know Harry's first name because they said it in the Coronas.
Yeah, actually, in fairness, Harry Hudson Taylor looks like a lot of other musicians.
He looks like, more generic. The brother isn't as generic looking. He just has his own style. Like
he actually looks a lot like the lead singer from Perfume Genius as well. So and they're kind of a similar band. So yeah, fair enough actually. Yeah, but actually, I think, so my biggest disappointment probably from Electric Picnic, maybe not disappointment, but Kendrick Lamar, didn't really enjoy him that much. That was kind of disappointing.
Oh, we might as well tell you.
Yeah, no, I was actually, that's why I wanted to mention it, because we're going to go on to other things after this.
Well, Kendrick Lamar, what happened was, so we had a few drinks all day. I had around six drinks, I'd say. I think
less than that, I'd say.
I had around 6 drinks, but you have to remember this was throughout the day, so we started around 1 o'clock drinking, so I wasn't really, like, I was just tipsy or that, but we went into crowd, I got a bit claustrophobic, and I was like to Fish, I don't feel well, I might go back and get a glass of water. He was like, no, wait here, you be grand, just take your jacket off. Went to take my jacket off, and I just fell to the ground.
Yeah.
I kind of went up, I kind of like, led myself down when I was falling. I kind of was still slightly conscious, but I just fell to the ground, and I was like, people just picked me up right away because I don't think it was the drink, it was more because I got claustrophobic from, it was literally surrounded from every single corner. And so luckily I was still able to walk after, and I just went to Fish gave in, and he was like, "Fuck it, we have to go to the back."
I even gave in. I was straight away like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to move back.
We have to go back."
To be honest with you, dude, alright, I want to defend myself a bit because I'm looking like the terrible cunt in this story at the moment, right? The main reason that I didn't want to go back was because we had to go through so much of a crowd. It was like, it's going to be impossible to get back.
Yeah, no, I'm not making you look that bad, like.
I mean, kind of. Like, I was kind of annoyed because I was like, Kendrick was the reason, basically the main reason I was Electric Picnic, and actually he started off a lot better at the start, and he kind of got worse throughout, so I thought...
Jesus Christ, the Looney Tunes could have been playing there, and you would have gone to Electric Picnic anyway.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying, as in, that was like...
That was a big hype for you, yeah.
Yeah, that was like my guy. He was like my guy that I wanted to go see, you know. But yeah, I mean, obviously to help you out.
So we went to the... we started going back, and it was like... For some reason, he let me take the lead going out. I started taking the lead. I was going through the thing. I was basically... my vision was basically gone. I could only see from corners. So he didn't know... Fish didn't know it at all. Like, so I was just... The corners of my... I could kind of... I could only barely make out stuff. So I was kind of... I was going to like some obscure ways out sometimes, but he didn't realize why I was doing it because I had no vision. I had basically no vision whatsoever, and I was just going out to. I actually did a good job in my defense.
I started leading about halfway through.
He was like, I think I'll lead now. He was like, and so he led me out, but it was just like I told him after after like this whole event that I actually had my vision. My vision actually went.
Yeah.
That's why I was going such a weird way. But anyway, we went and we kind of got to near the toilets. So I just sat down and I got sick a bit. And some girl went up and helped us. And
she sat with you.
She sat with me, water. And you went get water for me. And when he got my water, it's fucking disgusting water they have there.
Yeah, I know.
It's like they decided to mix a bit of piss in with it, like.
They probably did in fairness. I mean, I wouldn't trust that water at all.
I had no choice. I had to drink it. Yeah.
I was like, man, you got to drink the water. To be honest with you, I could have bought a bottle for €2, but I thought, so I didn't know that it was going to taste. If I knew it was going to taste bad, I would have probably bought you water. But I was like, look, can I just have a cup, please? It's for a friend, and they gave it to me, and then I filled it up at the tap thing. But if I'd known the water was bad like that, I would have gotten you. Obviously, it was safe to drink, but if I'd known it tasted like crap, I would have gotten you proper water because you were getting sick, obviously, and you were like fucked. So. Like, it was not fucked as in drunk, but fucked as in like.
Actually, that's one thing that Longitude had over Electric Picnic. They were actually providing water to people because they were like, we don't want. Well, they were a lot younger, so they kind of needed to make sure that nobody because they were a lot wilder, so they needed to give them water for that. I had a bad I think that was I had a bad time. I had like a bad drunk time as well in. Longitude, but it was on the Sunday when everything was going. But it was like it wasn't as bad.
That was so weird though. You literally went from tipsy to like fucking.
Yeah, I went through the stages like, of drunk.
So quick. I don't think I've ever seen anyone. Actually, no. I've definitely done it faster than that before because I'm a reckless drinker.
But I was like. In this scenario, I actually had quite a lot to drink, and we were like sitting up at a barrier, which was a distance from the stage, and I was just there, and there was security with water in front of us, and I was starting to feel worse and worse. I was just constantly asking security for water, and I couldn't make it any more obvious that I was like, because I was putting my head down sometimes and stuff. I couldn't make it any more obvious that I was a bit like, a bit gone. Well, I wasn't like polluted, but I was a bit gone. And then I was like, after a while, I was like, lads, I'm going to go to the bathroom. They didn't realize I was going to get sick. I literally walked away from 5 seconds later. I just spewed onto the floor, vomit, and then I just wiped my mouth and just kept walking down. I went to the. I think I got sick another time on the way over, but then I went to toilets, kind of got sick a good bit, and then kind of cleaned myself up, and I walked out, and I was like, I saw someone I recognized. I was talking away to him. I was like, man, I'm after getting sick a load. Like, just spewing everywhere. Like, I'm absolute. I don't know. I don't even think I'm actually that drunk. I'm more like the alcohol just went through my system too fast, where it just spewed out. And I went back to I went back to the lads, and I just looked a lot better. I was just had a few. I did another few things of water, and it was like I was grand after that. It was just like the alcohol didn't even just go to my head; it just went through my system and spewed out.
You really don't wrap yourself with glory with these stories. you just give off such a bad impression. It's great. I love it. You're not gonna get many bad stories like that of me, even though there's loads. So maybe if we ever do another what? No, that's not that. We should definitely do a personal podcast where we do some drunk stories sometime. We get someone to mediate and we'll just talk. I think Dave offered to do it before. Our guest from what was that one? Free Speech podcast. I think, He said he offered to do it. Andrew would be pretty good for that, or even Billy maybe. Yeah, we might do that at some point. I think we'll start to wrap up a tiny bit because we don't want to make it an hour long podcast. We want it to be a bit of a shorter one. So other stuff we did this summer. I went to Barcelona for 5 days. I think it was 5 days, yeah. Oh, man. So before that, I didn't really have a great impression of Spain because the only place I'd been to Mallorca when I was a kid, but, I mean, literally, we just stayed at the hotel all the time at the fucking pool and shit. I think, honestly, you really don't get the sense of a country and what it's like when you just stay at the hotel all the time.
Yeah.
That was one of the main reasons that I probably didn't get as much out of my trip into Morocco as I could have. But like Barcelona, we really made an effort to like experience the local culture and like try the local food and to talk to the local people, to go to local bars, all that shit. Like we kind of half avoided the tourist places. Like we didn't go to like touristy bars. Like we went to like this local bar every night where the drink was cheap, and like the woman that was working there, like her mom was sitting at the front door every day, like because there was like tables outside and we'd sit on one of those, and she was always sitting at a table outside like your one's mom with like her dog. And it would always be like the same group of them, and like the bar never got busy at all. Like there was like never more than like 15 people at that bar at one time ever that we were there. But it was just really nice. I think that this time I got a really good impression of the Spanish people. Like they were very welcoming, and I think there was only one dude who was a bit of a prick, but he was like a shop clerk and he wasn't even Spanish. So, and I think that I don't know, he was just a bit jaded as a person, which is fair enough. I mean, you get people like that everywhere. But like in fairness though, the Spanish people were lovely, man. The food there is class. It's amazing. It's like all like tapas and like pinchos. Like pinchos is kind of like bite-sized food essentially. So you get like bite-sized burgers, like bite-sized a load of other things, and then tapas is a lot of different stuff. Like there's one thing, it's like patatas bravas, which is like potato cubes and like this tomatoey sauce, and that was savage. And we got like churros and stuff, and we went to like there's a local market in Spain or Barcelona as well. I know I'm like running through things, but I don't want to go into too much detail about anything really. But the local market in Spain, they sell like, you know, like Euro smoothies and like these small things that you can get, and those were class. And it was just nice to walk around and like experience a different culture, because like I haven't really been many places recently. Like I think like most of the time I've just go to England and stuff. Like I've been to Manchester like 6 or 7 times because my aunt lives there. But I haven't been to as many other different countries in the last couple of years. Like the last probably place I was before this was Morocco. So it was really savage to go somewhere quite cool. Like you've been to Spain before, haven't you? You've been to Barcelona, yeah.
Yeah.
You have, yeah.
I have my experience in Barcelona. So we were staying in a town around 30 kilometers away or something like that. I forget how far away. We got a train down, and we went with a tour to go to Barcelona, and so we were at Barcelona Stadium. And ended up getting lost over there, and we had to fucking get we ended up having to fucking find a way back.
Yeah.
We were just there the whole time. I was like, fucking, my sister was fucking bawling in tears, calling up in a fucking ball and all this type of shit. And we were just going around. I think I lost my action man that time or something. I forget. I got very upset about that. In my defense, I was like 10, okay? It wasn't like it last year or anything like.
I mean, you get upset if you lost your action man today. Like, who wouldn't? It's a fucking action man. You can't just replace that easily, like, you know?
But,
come on.
You know, like, I mean, it's not as bad as the time I missed the ferry and stuff, but like, you know, it was a pretty sad day. We went back. We went back to. Once we got back to our town, or that there was the hotel, and there's the tour guides was on the tour group were on in the hotel, like hanging out there. We were like, we're not going in there. We just got lost, like.
Yeah.
They fucking left us because we were too into the stadium, and we just.
Oh, was this in Barcelona?
This was in Barcelona.
The Camp Nou, yeah. I remember you got a fucking picture at Ronaldinho, right? Like, but it was like one of those like fake ones.
Yeah.
And you told me, you were like, oh man, I got a picture of Ronaldinho and all this shit. Like, you were like bragging.
You believe me?
I did believe you, and then my mom was like, you know, that's bullshit, right? And I was like, well, she didn't, you know, that wasn't like her exact words, because I was like 10. And I was like, oh, I can't believe you lied about that. What a dick. Because I just kind of...
Yeah. Says the guy who made up imaginary friends.
Oh my... No, I was never like... Yeah, actually, that was bad. Yeah, fucking, man, some of the stories I told as a kid, like, no wonder I want to be a fucking writer. I mean, the amount of bullshit that came out of my mouth, like, oh my god. We should definitely... Oh, man, there's so many podcast ideas. Fucking childhood story podcast.
I think we're rambling on a bit much now, so we're going to wrap
up,
video now. So we kind of talked a lot about, you know, the event we did over the summer and stuff, and I don't think we have as much more to get into.
Yeah,
we did the festivals, and you talked about Barcelona and stuff.
I actually would love to just, like, another idea kind of for a podcast we were kind of talking about before would be like a travel podcast. We might talk about like our experiences in different countries and stuff, especially because I'm going to a different country for a year now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling. Like I'm going to be going to Amsterdam and stuff to visit people. So like even if you kind of enjoy these more personal podcasts, just kind of like give us an idea, like leave us a comment, or like
just
stop us on the street and be like, hey, fish and chips, I like those personal podcasts, and we'll be like, who the fuck are you, like?
Yeah.
And you'll just walk away. Don't even give no context.
Yeah.
Don't give context to your statement.
I leave Fish's address and home number in the link below.
Dox me in the comments. Stalk me in real life. You know, I mean, we need super fans. Like, come on, we're a small channel. Like,
he just wants a stalker because he has nobody.
Like, I mean, that was really hurtful. That hit the truth like a bit too close. You know, a bit too close, Shane. You're a bit too close with that. Yeah. So I think we're gonna wrap up there. So yeah.
Slap a like on this video.
Like
just
and
comment
subscribe.
and just subscribe with that. Just let us know what you thought of this video. And fish and chips are out.